Good morning, everyone. So, in this class, we are starting with chapter number 14, that is atmosphere. So, let's understand the flow chart. Now, here, this is the flow chart of this chapter, and here we can see that here we are talking about the air or atmosphere. So, what is the meaning of the atmosphere? Atmosphere is the air which surrounds the earth, okay, the planet on which we are living. Now, let's understand what is the composition of air. So the composition is means what is the components, different components of the air, that is nitrogen, oxygen, argon, carbon dioxide and so on. Then we talk about structures of atmosphere is like that how many layers are there in the atmosphere. The atmosphere is divided into certain layers which has been given here. The first one is troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. So these are the layers. As we go higher into the atmosphere, then we will find these layers. Okay. Then the most important part of the chapter is the weather and climate, that how weather and climate phenomena are occurring. So the weather and climate of a particular place is actually dependent upon a lot of concepts. The first is temperature, then atmospheric pressure, wind, humidity and precipitation, or you can say the rain. Okay, so we are going to read about all these topics one by one in order to understand that how our weather and climate of a particular place is actually made. So let's see what is the introduction of this chapter. You can see that this is the model of your earth, and your earth is surrounded by many layers of atmosphere. Okay, many layers of atmosphere, and that is why, and that is the reason behind that how the earth is a unique planet, because due to this atmosphere only we are able to survive on earth, and this atmosphere is held back towards the earth due to the gravitational force. The next topic is the composition. The composition you can understand from figure 14.1. Here you can see that the maximum composition of atmosphere is nitrogen, that is 78%. Then we have oxygen 21%, and then the remaining percentage is actually made up of a lot of gases into the atmosphere like argon, carbon dioxide and many other gases. So this is the composition of the atmosphere. After the composition, we are there are the the layers of the atmosphere, that is we are having troposphere, and then we are having thermosphere, exosphere, mesosphere. So these are the intertwined layers, means these are the layers which one by one we can see when we go towards the space. Now, what is the significance of atmosphere? Okay, significance means whatever elements which we have talked about into the atmosphere have certain importance. First of all, what is nitrogen? Nitrogen, which is the maximum into the atmosphere. Nitrogen is actually helping in the growth of the plants, because they provide a very important component, nitrogen, which makes the soil very fertile. Then oxygen. Oxygen is actually very important for human beings and animals to survive, because we need oxygen to breathe. Then carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide actually helps in plant in order to make their food by the process of photosynthesis. And then we have dust particles, and dust particles also have their important because they helps in holding the moisture towards them. Okay, so this is the significance of the atmosphere, and whatever the contents are there in the atmosphere, they all have certain degree of importance. Then weather and climate. Now when we talk about weather and climate, they are not similar topics, but they are different. They are two different topics. Weather means day to day conditions, means whatever we see today might not be the same tomorrow. Today it might be rainy, and tomorrow it might be sunny, and day after tomorrow it might be cloudy. So every day the weather is somehow it is changing, so that is called as weather. And when we talk about climate, climate is the overall picture of a particular region. and it is the data which we actually get after we research for 30 to 40 years, after we have compiled the 30 to 40 years of data, and we have taken in account all the various important elements like temperature, pressure, humidity, wind velocity, precipitation, etc., everything. Then we get to know that what is the climate of a particular place in a particular region at a particular time. For example, if we talk about Rajasthan during December, January, then we can say the climate in Rajasthan during this month is, they are having winters. Okay. So this is the difference between weather and climate. As I have told you that there are a number of factors which actually affect the weather and climate. We are going to read one by one. So the first factor is temperature. Now, the temperature of the earth is actually dependent upon the sun because we receive the rays of the sun. It travels toward the sun to into some short waves, and this is what we call as insolation. Okay, the sun rays which we receive, they are called as insolation, and they are also called as incoming solar radiation. So this is how the temperature is actually affecting. How do we measure the temperature? We measure the temperature by the help of thermometer, and there are two units of degrees in which we can measure temperature. The one is Celsius and other one is Fahrenheit scale. Then we have factors affecting temperature. Okay, so what are the factors which affect the temperature? Means in a particular place, what will be temperature? There are certain factors also which also helps in ascertaining that what the temperature should be. The first is latitude. The latitude is actually, as we know that there are three latitude: torrid, temperate, and frigid. So the area, the region, which wherever it is lying in which latitude, that will impact its temperature also. For example, if a particular region like India lies into tropical and subtropical areas, so it will have more of sun rays. Okay, if we talk about polar region, they are very far away, they are very far away from the sun rays, so it will have a different kind of a temperature. Second is altitude. Altitude is the height. There are so many kind of areas, the areas which is near to the surface of the earth. Then there are certain regions which are above hilly areas or mountainous region, so they will have a different kind of a temperature. As we talk an example of summers, in summers we are having temperatures like 30 and 32, but if we talk about the hilly stations, they will have a comparatively less of temperature, because as we go up higher into the altitude, at every 165 meter of ascent, 1 degree Celsius of temperature will minimize. So we will find a very less of temperature in comparison to the the surface areas as we go into towards the hill areas. So that is altitude. The third factor is distance from the sea. Means there are interior regions in India like Rajasthan and northwest Rajasthan, Delhi and all, which are interior, and because they are very far away from the sea, that is why they are having continental kind of a temperature. Continental means they have extreme summers and they have extreme winters. But if we talk about those areas which are having less of distance of from the sea, for example Kerala and Tamil Nadu, all these coastal areas, they're having equable kind of a climate. Why equable? Because these are the areas which are near to the sea. That is why the breeze which are coming from the sea makes the temperature equable. Fourth point is prevailing winds. Now prevailing winds means that the winds which are prevailing. Okay, now if their hot winds are prevailing, then it will make the temperature of the surrounding areas hot also. If the winds which are blowing, which are cold in nature, cold, then they will make the temperature of a particular region, nearby regions, cold. Then ocean currents, we have talked about currents in hydrosphere chapter also, that if we are having a hot current near to the near to the area which we are living, then it will exceed the temperature of our region. And if it there is a cold current flowing near to other area where we are living, then it will, minimize the temperature. So that is ocean currents. Slope of the land. If the slope of the land is towards the area which is receiving the sun rays, then it will have a different kind of a temperature in comparison to the area which is opposite. Okay, so that is the slope of the land. Then the heat zones, the torrid, temperate, and the frigid heat zones. Now we can understand the heat zones in this figure 14.3. Here we can see that equator is at 0 degrees, and then we have Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. So the area between Tropic of Cancer, which is in northern hemisphere, and the Tropic of Capricorn, which is in southern hemisphere, is called as torrid zone. It is called as, this green area is called a torrid zone, and this is the area which receives the maximum insolation from the sun. Then the second area above the torrid zone is the temperate zone, means the area between, in the northern hemisphere, between Tropic of Cancer and Arctic Circle is known as temperate zone, not temperate zone. And in the southern hemisphere, the area between Tropic of Capricorn and Antarctic Circle, this pink area, is actually called as temperate zone. Okay, so temperate zone is the area which receives comparatively little less of sun rays as in comparison to the torrid zone. Then the third layer is frigid zone, which is between Arctic Circle and North Pole, and Antarctic Circle and South Pole. Because these are the areas which are very far away from the sun, and it takes a lot of time and distance between the sun rays. That is why they receive very less of sun rays, and that is why they're always having freezing temperature. That is why it is known as frigid zone. So these are the three zones: torrid, temperate, and frigid zone. Okay, so in this video we have learned till temperature and zones only, and in the next video we are going to understand regarding what is atmospheric pressure. Thank you so much.